What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod back with another video, and I know it's been a while, but your boy is finally back with some new content for you guys. So as you guys know, the shelves behind me are kind of bare right now. We had a ton of sneakers in the inventory, and at one point we were really trying to just stock up as much inventory as possible, because as you guys know, the goal for the end of the year is to hit $300,000 in sales. So of course I really just had to kind of pack up as much inventory as possible, but as you guys can see, the shelves are kind of bare. So I'll go through it really quickly and just show you guys what we have at this moment. And like I said before, the shelves used to be packed to the brim. This whole room was really packed to the brim, but at this point, thankfully, the shoes have really been selling, and that's what's really been keeping us afloat during these times while we couldn't go out there and source. So what I had to end up doing was just switching up the sourcing strategies, and a couple of the thrift stores in my area started to open up again. So I started just going back to some of those thrift stores and really just trying to, you know, find whatever can flip in a decent amount of time, as well as just getting rid of some of the stuff that I had in my death pile. And thankfully some of those other items have also been selling. So this is all the sneakers that we have now that's brand new in box. I also have some other shoes over here as well, and some more shoes here as well in some of these bins. But for the most part, I guess like the sweet spot was all the brand new in box shoes, and for the most part we're really running low. So I'll share with you guys some of the things that I've been picking up from some of these thrift stores, some of the more random pieces that I usually don't sell. I used to sell a lot of these items when we were in California, but since we did move to Arizona, a lot of those type of stuff I kind of stopped selling, because I really just focusing on shoes. But anytime you're dealing in business, you always have to pivot. So for me, I just had to take, you can call it a step back, and just kind of go back to the thrifts and try to find whatever I could get. And thankfully a lot of those items have been selling, so hopefully this can give you guys some inspiration as well. If your Goodwills and some of your other thrift stores are open, you can kind of keep an eye out for certain items. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright y'all, so first up we got GoldenEye 007 for the N64, and I actually sold this a couple months ago. This was actually when the quarantine first hit, like in the middle of March, and at that point $35 for this game was a really good price, and now it's actually selling for about $50. So if you guys do have GoldenEye 007, definitely shoot for a little more money, because anything gaming related is selling for a ton of profit. So I just wanted to share this with you guys really quickly, just in case you're trying to sell this game right now. Just shoot up a little more, sometimes maybe $50-$55, because people are spending a little more money on gaming stuff right now. Next up we got this vintage film camera from Canon. This is the EOS 750, and this one sold for $60. This one was a really good deal. I actually picked this one up for I think $2 or $3, and the good thing about this is that it came with a lens, and the lens was the 35 by 70 millimeter, and I could have easily sold the lens separately, but I didn't have the lens cap, and I thought I would probably make some more money if I bundled it together. And separately I probably would have got 30, maybe 20 $25 a piece if I was lucky, but I sold it complete for $60. So definitely be on the lookout for these vintage film cameras. Some sell a lot better than others, but this one in particular sold for about $60. Next up we got another film camera, and this one is from Minolta. This one was a waterproof camera, and this one sold for $35. It took a little longer for this one to sell, and I also got this for I think $2 or $3. So this one was another really good sale for me as well. Some decent profit was made with this piece. So if you guys find any of these vintage film cameras, you might want to look it up, because like I said earlier, some sell better than others, and Minolta isn't one of like the best higher end brands, but for $35 I was happy with that sale. Next up we have this official GameCube controller, and like I said earlier, anything gaming related is selling for a ton of profit. This one sold for $30 after 10 minutes of listing it. So I probably could have maybe listed it for $35 or even $40. It did have some signs of use, some little scratches here and there, so I didn't want to price it too high. But if you guys are selling anything gaming related, you might want to price it a little higher just to secure some more money. Next up we have 2K18 for the PS3, and surprisingly when I picked this one up, I think I got this for maybe $12, and I played it for just a little while, and it was sitting just collecting dust, so I decided to list this, and it sold for $27.99. So like I said earlier, anything gaming related, whether it's older games or newer games, it's definitely selling for some good profit right now. Next up we have this old cable modem, and we recently upgraded our modem, so I just wanted to let this one go and kind of recoup on the profit, just to recoup some of the money that I spent buying the new modem. And all these modems, these routers, people are still picking these up. So if you can find them in the thrift for say $2 or $3, definitely pick them up. Sometimes the thrift stores are pricing them on the higher end, so usually I'll pass on them, but as long as they're a decent price, you can make some decent profit on these, and they usually do sell pretty quickly. Next up, we have this Michelob bear tap handle, and this one was kind of a rare find. I usually don't pick up bear tap handles or anything random like this, but usually when I find them, they're a lot more expensive. But these bear tap handles were like $2 or $3 a piece, and I picked them up for $25, and it took about maybe a month and some change for it to sell, but nonetheless I was really happy about these. I know a lot of people that have like a basement or a man cave, this is like the perfect accessory for just kind of bring it all together. So definitely be on the lookout for these bear tap handles as long as they're in good condition. Next up, we got a couple of these vintage GI Joe dolls, and these action figures, I should say, these aren't some of the older ones. I know the older ones sell for a lot more money, but I had these for maybe 2 or 3 years just collecting dust, and I was trying to sell them all like a bulk deal, but I just never got around to doing that. But since we had so much downtime during this quarantine, I decided to just list them and just kind of bundle them with some of the other additional accessories, and they sold for $25 a piece. I had about 5 or 6, and they all sold for at least $25. Next up, we have this slick mini tripod, and this is actually the tripod I was using to film a lot of my YouTube videos, but I recently upgraded my own tripod, so I had to let this one go. And anything from the brand Slick in terms of tripods usually does have some decent resale value, so definitely be on the lookout for Slick tripods. They have the mini ones and the larger ones as well, and I remember getting this one from a Goodwill for like $2, so I got a chance to use it and still made some decent profit after. Next up was another item that was from the personal collection. I was actually using these headphones for a while, but I decided to let these go because, like I said, anything that was laying around the house that wasn't being put to use, I was just listing everything on eBay, especially since we had so many free listings. And this one sold for $16.99, so nothing special, but I was just glad that it was still something that sold. Next up, we have another older router, and this one sold for $16.99 as well. Like I said, these older routers people are still picking these up. This one was actually also from the personal collection, but since we upgraded, I just decided to just let this one go. Next up is this golf leather shoe bag. This one was really dope. This is from the Mulholland brothers, and this is a really good bag company, very high quality, and I had these listed for $110, and I took best offers on 2 of them. I think $95 plus shipping, and the other 2 sold for my full asking price. And if you guys follow the channel, you guys already know that I picked these up in a thrift store while I was living in California for only $4.99 a piece. So this was a really good flip, and I'm so thankful that they sold during these times, because I've been selling a lot of sneakers and a lot of like random stuff, but anything that can sell for, you know, 100 plus is always a good sale. Next up, we have this vintage Simpson racing suit, and I had this listed for $149, but I took a best offer of $125, and I was just glad that it sold in a decent amount of time. I had this in my death pile for a few months, and of course I just decided to let this one go, and it sold for $125. So definitely be on the lookout for these vintage Simpson racing suits. I did a video on this one previously when I first listed this, and it took a while, but it finally did sell. Next up, we got this vest from the brand Kakadu, and this was also something that I shared previously when I picked this one up from the thrift store, but it sold not too long ago, so I decided to just let you guys see how much it sold for. It sold for my full asking price, $65 free shipping, and it took about 2 or 3 weeks for this one to sell. So definitely be on the lookout for this brand. This is not something that I usually do sell, but I'm definitely going to be on the lookout from now on. Next up, we got some more vintage cameras. This one isn't as old as some of the other ones because this is actually a digital camera, but some of these older cameras, people are still picking these up. This one, I had a few other accessories. I had a tripod, I had the manual, just about everything that goes with it, and I just decided to bundle everything together, and it sold for my full asking price of $49.99 and with $9 shipping. So just be on the lookout for these older cameras. People are always picking these up, and they're usually in the thrift stores for not too much money. So these are always a good find. Next up, we have this US Marines like military set. This is actually the jacket and the pants as well, and this one sold for $60. At first it sold, I think I took a best offer of maybe 45, but the buyer never paid. That's one thing that I really do hate about eBay. But I relisted them and then they sold for my full asking price. So anytime that usually does happen, usually it happens for a reason. So I was happy about that. Next up, we got this Hard Corpse jacket. This is like a ski jacket, and I was expecting this one to sell a lot later. I wasn't expecting this to sell anytime soon, but it sold within about a week of listing it. So definitely be on the lookout for these Hard Corpse ski jackets. This one, anytime I find any jackets or any sweaters or anything with a really big spell out, I usually would grab it up and do the research later, and this one was just a really good find, and I think I spent maybe $5 on this jacket. Next up, we have this Canon, this is a Tamron lens, and it fits for the Canon mount. So this one was a really good lens. It was missing the lens cap on the bottom, but at the end of the day, it was still a really good find, and this, I think I picked this up for maybe $2 or $3. And Tamron stuff usually does sell pretty quickly for me. Like I've been showing you guys, I've been selling a lot of like vintage cameras and lenses. So definitely be on the lookout for Tamron. I have some stuff where I usually would keep, like I have a Canon camera that I would test the lenses with before I list them. So I suggest you guys do the same thing, because you would hate to say it, you tested it and it worked, and then when you ship it out, it doesn't work for the buyer. So I try to keep certain cameras just to test some of these lenses out with. And last but not least is this Olympia motorcycle pants. I picked these up maybe a year, maybe a little more than that. And at first I had these listed for like $120, then I just kept gradually lowering the price, and this one finally sold for $65 plus $12 shipping. So it took a while for it to sell. It didn't sell for as much as I was expecting it to, but it finally did sell. And anytime I'm making sales during these times, I'm always super thankful and just grateful. So I'm glad it finally did sell. And I made a video talking about this pair of pants in particular and just trying to figure out why it didn't sell. So maybe the fact that I drew some more attention to it, it finally sold. Maybe it's because I lowered the price. I actually didn't change any of the photos like I was saying I would, because I thought these pictures were actually really good. So it finally did sell. Alright y'all, that's all I got for today's video. And like I said, I know it's been a while since I dropped any content, but I'm going to try to make sure I put out some more content consistently for you guys, because to be honest, I just really wasn't in the mood to do any type of videos. I went through all of the stages when it came to the quarantine. At first I was just excited to kind of do some home workouts, and then I eventually stopped working out and I gained some weight, and thankfully I lost all of that weight, and now I'm feeling like I'm approaching being in the best shape of my life. So thankfully my wife and I, we're both healthy, everything is good, we're still making some decent money, especially during these times, and I'm just glad that stuff are starting to open back up. So definitely stay tuned for some more content, and if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Stop with the and give me the strong. Hey, let's go. First back in the day, and so I can't complain. For all the times I pray carnivores don't come take. Cause it's poppin' up opportunists, I can't salute it. They raising red flags instead of raising solutions. I'm trying to do what's best for me. Okay, right hands on the wall because it's destiny. First time I own, but right hand man ain't nothing left for me. I left him, see, you can't hold me back like elementary. What's meant for me